Hey everybody, David Burns here, Certified Master Beekeeper. I'm the inventor of the Winter Bee Kind Board, candy board feeding system for feeding bees in the wintertime. So today I want to show you how to put them on your hive, and I usually like to wait till about late November or December to start putting them on here in central Illinois. So let's pop some lids, put on some candy boards. Well, it's a winter wasteland here in Illinois, and it is December. It's what you expect to see, a lot of snow maybe on the ground, and I'm getting ready this time of the year, about the middle of December, to go ahead and start putting on my winter bee kinds on my hives. As you can see, this is pretty normal to see this kind of activity. The bees are clustered. These are dead bees that have just aged out. They're old foragers. They're dying. So, you see that a lot in the colonies. There's a few bees that are flying because it's up to about 34, no wind, but bees are still tightly clustered. We're going to open up this hive. It has a bee walking out on top there, and put a winter bee kind on it. So my winter bee kind preparation, I usually put I put pollen, protein in the hard candy, but I also, on my hives, I bait it just a little bit by putting some honey with some pollen powder on top, and then I'll just flip it on top. In this colony here, I left, most of them I left, except that one. I left another super on top there. And so the bees would be high up into that super. When we pop the lid off, they'll fly. They'll probably sting me. I'm not wearing a hat or veil. I'm just going to pop this on and pop the lid off and pop this on. This little hole here, this is going to go upside down. This is my ventilation, and also becomes the winter exit and entrance for the colony, because they're going to be up eating these candy, the protein, and then they'll go out this hole to defecate during the winter months. This is a nice place here that I have a lot of hives. It's kind of warm. It's against the building. It's, you have the facing south, so you get the sun kind of hitting these hives here. So they stay really nice. I usually don't wrap them. I think I wrapped this one over here just for a demonstration, but I don't really need to wrap these hives over here. So we'll go ahead and get started on this one. So I've got my winter bee kind ready. It's about 30, 32 degrees, just above freezing a hair. And I'm going to just pop this top off. And some bees are going to fly. It's the way it goes. So you always should wear protective gear when putting on these winter feeding systems. And then I'm just going to put it on quickly as I can, and it'll be ready to go. Let's give it a try here. I like to work in slow motion. So you can see the winter cluster, the top of it. And so now I'm just going to take the candy board, place it right on top of that winter cluster. Great. So we had some pollen that I put on there. And there's a few bees here that are, I don't want to leave them out. So you can just kind of scrape them off and let them land down here on the actual screen bottom board. Like that. Put the top cover back on. We're going to do the same on the next one over here. This is an 8-frame hive. And you'll find that the propolis seal has really tightened up and holds the top on really tight. So you'll have to really use your hive tool to break open the propolis seal. And when you do, you're going to have to put something heavy back on top of the hive so that it doesn't blow off. All right, let's see what this 8-frame hive is going to look like. I have no idea. I know they've been pretty active on warm days. And see how tight that top cover is. I don't use inner covers because I just use my winter bee kinds on them. I'm listening. Okay, I gotta show you this. This is a little mistake that I made back last summer and kind of lost track of what I was doing. So this is going to require a little bit more work. So I harvested some frames of honey out, but I forgot to ever come back. I had 2 more frames on here. This is something you never want to do. They tried to build some comb. There's the top of the cluster. So now we've got to get this super off and then put the winter bee kind on top of that. That's our job today. So this is kind of one of those things that it's easy for beekeepers to forget, to lose track of what they're doing and leave something like this for winter. Okay, so the trick here is to, yeah, who knows what to do, right? The bees are going to get kind of excited once I start making some noise, and there's no way to break loose these frames without making a little bit of noise. So I've decided to try to go as fast as I can, and once I implement my plan, no, you know, I think I'm going to go slow. Let's see if I can pull these 2 frames out slowly, because they have bees on them. It's not windy. There's no brood on it. I can afford to do that. The queen could be up there on those frames, so I have to be extra careful. This is where the popping noise is going to happen. And every time we make that noise, the bees get a little more riled up. Let that settle down. Now I'm going to remove the box. Okay, doing pretty good. Now I just got to get the rest of these bees off of this frame. So these bees are here. I'm going to just kind of smack it onto here and see if they'll all fall off without flying too much. Nope, they're flying. Okay, I got most of them off. And it doesn't really hurt the bees to fly a little bit on this day when it's not very windy and cold. Now I'm going to have to scrape these 2 little things off. I wish I had a bee suit on, but sometimes you just got to take a chance. I do have a hat and a veil on. Alright, let's go ahead and put our candy board on, because they're going to keep getting more flighty as time goes on. Oh, I like that. I like having the bees underneath something. Very good. All right, so now I just have a small number of bees right here against the lip of this box that I don't want to leave out in the cold. So I'm just going to see if I can get them to fall onto the screen bottom board. I'll brush them off. Where's my bee brush? Oh, here it is. Perfect. And I'm going to take my frames again. Got a few more off. If you look at these frames, I want to show you these frames the bees were kind of hanging on. There really isn't any nectar in here. It's dry. There may be a little tiny bit at the bottom, see? But for the most part, it's empty. And so this would have not been wise to have left this. So you need to make sure you never leave a super with just a few frames of nectar in it. It probably did have some in it and they drained it out. So this winter bee kind is going to be a much more efficient way for those bees to consume the good protein and carbohydrates that they need this winter. Final thing, we're going to just put the top cover on. I've got a few bees on it. Again, I'm going to brush them off. You can see them in here. They'll find their way back in the front door. All right, good. And again, you're going to have to put a block or something on top to keep the weight down. Okay, so here's a colony that I wrapped. I demonstrated this wrap for you guys and put a winter be kind on it, right? And there's snow on the top here. And you should always check your winter be kind boards, because if the bees run out of food, they're going to be starving out really fast. So you'll take a look at this hive here. Let me get the sun to help us here. So there's the top of the cluster, and they've eaten all the candy and they've got nothing. So I'm a little bit behind. I need to get food on there. You can see the cluster, the top of the cluster. So we're going to put another winter be kind on here. Don't let these run dry. Okay, another winter be kind going on here. Colony seems to be doing fine. Does not have an extra super on it. So they're going to need some food. Hopefully we'll find a nice cluster toward the top of this colony that we can just take this top off and slip on this winter be kind. Slow motion. Okay, just what I suspected. Keep going slow. And just a reminder, here's the winter be kind with the candy and the protein. The protein is what I add to these to really help the bees get through the winter. The candy goes down on top of that cluster. Just like that. Perfect. And then this is, you'll see, I'll get the camera where you can see the opening that really is the salvation of the bees right here. This opening is where the bees will go in and out and experience the opportunity to get moisture out of the hive, as well to take cleansing flights during the winter. They'll no longer use the lower entrance. And you put the top right back on it. So with the top on it, you can see the bees will start using this as their main entrance and exit. One more hive to put a winter be kind on. And we're going to do the same thing. Pop the lid off, take a look, see where the cluster is. This one has a honey super on it. Again, we might be surprised to find out that the bees are in the honey super, or they could be well below it and in one of the deeps. Either way, we're going to put the winter be kind right on top of this hive. Okay, so they're not in this super. So it is going to be probably best to take it off. Yeah, there's not a bee in it. I can see the cluster. I can see some honey. You can see the bees coming up right here. So that was a good thing. That was a good call. It was probably left on and they ate through it and went back down. That's how much they can really eat through their honey supers pretty fast. You leave a honey super on, you think they're going to be okay. They drain it, it's gone. Sometimes they move it back down in the fall. So we're going to put the winter be kind right on top. So just so you know, if you put the winter be kind on top of the honey super that was empty, the bees may have never left the little bit of brood down there. So this was a wise decision to get that off. And there's not a single bee in this honey super. Oh, there may be 2 or 3, but not many bees are in it. Look a little bit. See what it looks like when bees are feeding on this. You can see it's some of the candy the bees are eating, and they purposely drop it down toward the more of the bottom of the cluster. The cluster's lower. They're just eating away that good food. Okay, so that's well, thanks for watching, everybody. On some of the hives that we saw, we ran into a few issues that we worked through. We had a couple of frames on a super that needed to come off, and we had an entire super that was left on to help the bees get through the winter, and already by December, second week into December, they'd already drained it and went back down. So don't put all your faith in your honey supers that you're leaving on top of the hive. In my case, there were no bees in it. I went ahead and just pulled it off and put the winter bee kind right on top of it. So you need to do the same. It takes too much energy for the bees to move the cluster in empty comb to get to your winter bee kind boards when you put those on. If you don't know anything about my winter bee kinds, check the description down below. I'll have a link for them you can take a look at, and you can just see how valuable it is to have food on a hive, especially protein in that candy, to help the bees get through the winter. I'm David Burns. Thanks for watching.